Okay, so have you ever like walked out of a meeting, maybe even just a casual chat, and you think, ooh, I should have said that instead?
Oh, yeah. Or why didn't I sound more confident? Or articulate.
Exactly. We've all been there, right? That feeling, wishing you just had the perfect words delivered, well, perfectly.
With just the right amount of polish. Yep.
Well, today, we're going to try and help fix that.
Because it's so true, communication isn't just about what you say. Fundamentally, it's really about how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Absolutely. So our mission with this deep dive really is to give you a kind of shortcut to, well, truly effective communication.
Yeah, we've basically sifted through a whole stack of insights, advice on confident English phrases.
And we've pulled out what we think are the most powerful nuggets. We're laying them out for you right here.
Our promise is pretty simple, actually. We're going to show you some English phrases, powerful ones that will instantly help you sound more articulate, more self-assured, genuinely polished. And here's the key part, without sounding, pretentious or stiff.
Yeah, that's crucial. And look, these aren't just for non-native speakers. That's a common misconception.
Oh, definitely not.
Anyone looking to sort of level up their English game, whether it's for work, big presentations, or even just, daily chats, these are incredibly useful.
They really are.
And these phrases work because, well, they do more than just fill silence, don't they?
Right. They actively shape how people perceive you. They can buy you strategic thinking time.
Mm-hmm, that's a big one.
And subtly position you as maybe more of a leader in the conversation.
It's fascinating how these seemingly simple phrases can do so much sophisticated stuff.
Exactly. They sound polished, sure.
Yeah.
But crucially, like you said, they buy you that valuable thinking time.
Which helps avoid the ums and thums.
Right. Those little things that can kind of undermine your confidence. But beyond that, they also actively demonstrate critical thinking.
And they're versatile. You can use them anywhere.
Totally. Formal emails, big meetings, even those quick coffee chats where you still want to make a good impression, they just work.
Okay, let's unpack these then, maybe with some specific examples. I know sometimes I have an idea that like perfectly builds on what someone else just said.
Right.
But I don't want to just jump in or, steal their thunder. How do you handle that respectfully?
Yeah, that's a classic situation. And this is where a phrase like this is an interesting point. Building on that becomes just incredibly useful.
Okay.
It's not just polite. It's actually quite strategic. It signals you're listening, you're a team player, you're not just waiting for your turn to talk.
So give me an example.
Sure. Like if someone mentions something about, say, marketing strategy, you could chime in with, that's an interesting point about marketing. Building on that, what if we also considered targeting Gen Z via TikTok? See?
Ah, okay. So it frames you as someone who's like elevating the idea, not just pushing your own agenda.
Precisely.
I can see how that subtly positions you as more collaborative, almost like a leader. Okay, what about when you want to offer an idea, throw it into the mix, but you're not trying to be, dogmatic about it. Like it's a perspective, not the final word.
Yeah, good one. Our source is highlighted for what it's worth. For exactly that scenario.
For what it's worth.
It lets you contribute your thoughts, maybe in a team meeting or even a debate, but it signals, hey, this is just my perspective, not making some absolute declaration.
So you're contributing without demanding everyone agree.
Exactly. It keeps the door open.
But, could that sometimes make your opinion sound a bit less confident, like you're hedging too much?
That's a fair question. And I think the key is really in the delivery and the context.
Okay.
It can actually show self-awareness.
Yeah.
You're acknowledging it's your perspective, which sometimes can increase your perceived confidence because it shows humility. You're opening a dialogue, not trying to shut it down.
That makes sense. It's about nuance. Okay, now what if I've just presented a really strong argument, made my case, but I want to acknowledge that, there is another side to consider without totally undermining my point?
That's a tricky balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
For that, our sources point to, that being said, it's incredibly powerful for managing that exact situation.
That being said, how would that work?
Well, imagine you've just presented some really positive sales numbers. You could say, so the key 3 numbers look really strong. That being said, we still need to address the decline in customer retention.
Ah.
It shows you can hold different, even slightly conflicting points of view at the same time. It signals a more sophisticated, nuanced way of thinking, not just seeing things in black and white.
That shows real maturity in a discussion. I like that. Okay, moving on. Sometimes I find myself just saying, I don't get it. And it feels a bit blunt, doesn't it?
You can, yeah. A bit like hitting a wall.
Right. Is there a more polished way to admit you're confused without sounding like you're completely lost, or worse, like you weren't listening?
Definitely. And this is another common challenge. The sources suggest something like, I'm not sure I follow a floor. Can you explain that a bit more?
Okay, that sounds better already.
It does, right. Because admitting confusion this way actually shows confidence, believe it or not weakness.
How so?
Well, smart, confident people ask clarifying questions. They're not afraid to say they don't understand something perfectly the first time. This phrase lets you do that gracefully.
It sort of reframes it. It's not, I'm lost. It's, let's make sure we're on the same page.
Exactly. A collaborative quest for clarity rather than, a personal failing.
Okay, here's a great one for critical thinking, and I think this came up in both our main sources. Let's play devil's advocate for a moment.
Right.
Or you could say, I'd like to play devil's advocate.
Yes. Love this one.
Because, I often see people challenge ideas really directly, maybe too directly, and it can sometimes just shut down the whole conversation.
Right. It can feel aggressive.
Yeah. So is there a way to really test an idea rigorously without just sounding critical or negative?
Absolutely. And this is precisely where playing devil's advocate shines. It's like a preemptive signal.
A signal for what?
It signals, hey, I'm about to challenge the idea, not you personally. You're inviting scrutiny in a structured way.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. This marketing plan looks good, but let's play devil's advocate for a moment. What if this campaign actually alienates our existing customers?
I see.
Or, I'd play devil's advocate here, what if adding this new feature actually confuses our older user base? It focuses the challenge on the potential downsides of the idea.
So it signals critical analysis, not just criticism. That's a key leadership quality, isn't it? Being able to anticipate problems.
Totally. It's like you're putting on a temporary stress test hat for the idea, making sure it's robust.
Okay. And sort of in a similar vein, presenting a balanced view. There's the simple phrase, to be fair.
Oh yeah. Simple but really powerful.
How so?
Think about it. If someone's complaining about a project delay, you might say, yeah, the delay is frustrating. To be fair, though, they did warn us about potential supply chain issues.
Right. It acknowledges the other side.
Exactly. It shows fairness, maturity.
Yeah.
Which is invaluable for managing discussions, maybe even resolving conflicts. It can immediately diffuse tension by showing your objective and considering all factors.
That's a good one for keeping things balanced.
Aha.
Okay, shifting to something more positive. When you want to describe a situation that's good for everyone involved.
The classic, it's a win-win.
Simple, but effective.
Very effective. It clearly states the outcome is mutually beneficial. It shifts the focus immediately to collective gain, shared success.
Like if we partner with this other company, it's a win-win for both of us.
Exactly. It shows your solution focus, thinking about shared benefits, not just your own side. That's a really important leadership trait.
Okay, switching gears slightly. What if a discussion starts going off track, down a rabbit hole? How do you gently bring it back to the main point, especially if you're in a meeting and time is ticking?
Oh, that's such an important skill. And it requires a bit of finesse.
Right.
Asking something like, what's the underlying goal here? Can be a subtle but really firm way to refocus the group.
How does that work?
Well, you could say, okay, before we dive deep into brainstorming solutions for this specific issue, maybe let's just clarify, what's the underlying goal we're trying to achieve here? Is it customer retention or new customer acquisition?
Okay. It pulls everyone back up to the strategic level.
Exactly. It shows you're thinking beyond the immediate weeds, focusing on the broader objectives. It helps keep the discussion productive and avoids those time-wasting tangents.
Very strategic. Okay, and sometimes, you just need to disagree, but you want to do it diplomatically, right?
Always preferable, yes.
Saying something like, I see where you're coming from, however. That sounds like a pretty respectful way to preface a counterpoint.
It absolutely is. It's one of the best ways, I think.
Give me an example.
I see where you're coming from regarding the budget cuts. That makes sense. However, I'm concerned this might hurt our long-term growth potential.
Okay. So you validate their perspective first.
Exactly. You show you heard them, you understand their point, before you introduce your own contrasting view. It makes the disagreement feel much less confrontational.
And it makes it more likely they'll actually listen to your point rather than just getting defensive.
Precisely. Your point gets heard, not immediately dismissed.
Okay, here's one I think a lot of people could probably use more often. When you need to clarify something, maybe something complex or even emotionally charged, the phrase, "let me play that back to make sure I understand."
Oh, that's a fantastic tool. Really, really good for preventing misunderstandings.
And it shows empathy too, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, let me play that back just to make sure I've got it right.
Yeah.
You're saying the proposed timeline feels unrealistic unless we get more staff assigned.
Yeah.
It does two things. It ensures you've accurately grasped their message, and, crucially, it makes the other person feel genuinely heard and understood.
It builds trust, builds rapport.
Absolutely. It's really a cornerstone of active listening.
Okay. And when you need to explain your take on something, maybe some data or customer feedback, how about the way I interpret this is...
Yeah, that's a good one too. Instead of just stating a conclusion like, users hate this, which sounds blunt,
Right.
you'd say, okay, looking at the survey results, the way I interpret this is that our users are really prioritizing simplicity over having more features right now.
So it positions you as more thoughtful, analytical.
Exactly. You're explaining your reasoning, your interpretation, not just dropping a conclusion. It invites a discussion around your interpretation rather than just an argument over a stark statement.
Nice. Okay, for those times when you need to suggest maybe being a bit cautious, taking a careful approach.
Ah, yes. Phrases like to play it safe.
Oh.
Or perhaps a bit more formally, to be prudent.
How would you use those?
Look, this is a big change. To be prudent, maybe let's test this feature with a small pilot group first before rolling it out everywhere. It sounds strategic, risk-aware. It demonstrates foresight and careful planning. It reinforces that confident, thoughtful approach. It's about taking calculated steps, not just being afraid of risk.
Right, calculated caution. Okay, we all get put on the spot sometimes, right? Asked a tough question you weren't expecting.
Happens all the time.
How do you handle that gracefully? Maybe buy yourself a second to think without just freezing or sounding evasive.
Yeah, that's a key skill. This is where something like, that's a great question, honestly, can be really effective.
That's a great question. Honestly, how does that help?
Well, first, acknowledging it's a good question buys you a moment. It flatters the asker slightly. Then the honestly part signals authenticity. So you might say, that's a great question. Honestly, we don't have all the specific data points on that just yet, but here's what we do know based on current trends.
So it builds trust because you're being transparent. You're not trying to bluff.
Exactly. You buy a moment, collect your thoughts, remain transparent, and maintain your credibility. Much better than fumbling or making something up.
Definitely. Okay, almost there. To wrap things up or maybe emphasize the main takeaway point.
The classic, at the end of the day.
Does that one still work? Doesn't it sound a bit cliche?
It can, if overused, like any phrase.
Yeah.
But used well, it's still very effective for concluding an argument with a sense of authority or just bringing focus back to the ultimate objective.
Okay.
Like, look, we can debate the tactics, but at the end of the day, our primary goal has to be serving our users better. It cuts through the noise, brings clarity, decisiveness, focuses on the core truth.
Got it. Use sparingly but effectively. And one more really practical one for managing conversations, especially meetings that might be dragging on. Let's take this offline.
Ah, yes. The meeting efficiency tool.
Exactly. How does that help?
Saying something like, that's a really important point, and I want to give it the attention it deserves. Could we maybe take this offline after the meeting and dig into the details? It shows you value everyone else's time in the room, and you know how to manage a discussion efficiently. It keeps the main agenda on track, while ensuring that complex or specific issues still gets addressed, just maybe more privately or with the right people.
It's a polite way to sort of assert control over the conversation flow without shutting someone down completely.
Precisely. Very useful.
Okay, now, a quick bonus tip or hack that works with basically all of these phrases.
Ooh, okay.
Think about pairing them with confident body language. You know, stand or sit tall, make steady eye contact. But here's the big one we touched on earlier. Pause before you speak.
Yes. The power of the pause.
That's a simple, brief pause before you deliver. Say, that's an interesting point. It can make you sound 10 times more thoughtful, more in control.
It really can. It communicates that you're being deliberate, not just reacting impulsively. You're considering your words.
It gives your words more weight, doesn't it?
Absolutely. A well-placed pause can significantly elevate how intelligent and thoughtful you seem. It signals you're not rushing, you're processing.
But, and this is really important, right? Don't overdo these phrases.
Oh, definitely not. Sprinkle them in naturally.
Yeah, if you say to put it succinctly, or at the end of the day, 5 times in one conversation, it just loses all its magic. It sounds robotic.
Right. Authenticity always comes first. The goal isn't to sound like you're reading from some kind of script.
No, it's about feeling more prepared, more articulate, more confident in the moment.
Exactly. They're tools. Tools to enhance your natural communication style, not to replace it. The aim should be sort of effortless confidence.
And there you have it. A whole toolkit of powerful English phrases designed to instantly elevate how you communicate. Whether you're in the office, jumping on a video call, or honestly just chatting with friends, these phrases are tools. They help you come across as clear, thoughtful, and incredibly confident.
They really do. They're not just about sounding good, though. They're about navigating discussions more effectively, maybe even leading conversations with a bit more ease.
Yeah, it's about contributing meaningfully, managing the flow, expressing complex ideas with, clarity and poise.
They're like subtle signals, aren't they? Signals of your competence, your strategic thinking. They help you guide interactions, not just be a passive participant.
Okay, so here's your challenge for the week, if you're up for it.
Right.
Pick just one phrase, just one that you heard today that resonated with you, that you think you could use, and then actively make a conscious effort to incorporate it into your conversations this week. See how it feels when you use it.
And then reflect on it afterwards.
Exactly. Reflect on the impact. Did it make you feel more confident? Did you perceive yourself differently? And maybe, did it change the flow of the conversation at all?
And don't forget that pause. Try adding that deliberate pause right before you use the phrase.
Yes. See how much more thoughtful that makes you sound? It raises a fascinating question, doesn't it?
Which is,
how much can just a small shift in language, maybe combined with something as simple as a deliberate pause, truly impact how other people perceive your intelligence, your confidence, even your leadership potential?
it's a really interesting experiment to run on yourself.
We think you might actually be quite surprised by the results. Give it a try.